teacher as in the vocation or the work, but teacher as your personal, okay, your personal mental health care, okay, not the responsibility. How are you? Kasi we always ask our friends, our colleagues. Si Ma'am Rachel kanina would always say, yung mga teachers ko, kasi you are the principal. How are they? Are they holding up? But have we asked ourselves, hi, how are you? Have we tapped ourselves kapag medyo nakaka-survive tayo ng a day sa harap ng what do you call this, ng virtual class natin or online class natin? How are you holding up? How are you coping? And how are you going day by day with your virtual classes? What do you feel about the changes in teaching methods? So, what do you feel about uh, having these changes from the classroom setup to the virtual setup, from sharing inside the classroom to sharing screens? So we ask these questions. Is the change okay? Am I coping up, or am I adjusting with the change, or hirap pa rin talaga na push and pull pa rin talaga ako with the changes? With Ma'am Susette's story kanina, yung talagang for my sanity, pwede bang makita ko kayo? Kasi parang wala akong kausap right now. Like right now, I'm looking at the camera, at my laptop's camera, so, and my screen. So parang, okay, walang tao yon. So you cannot see the expressions, the non-verbals of your students, if they are getting it, kung nagfa-frown ba sila, or are they smiling, gets ba nila yung lesson, things like that. So how do you feel about those changes? And then, do you sometimes question your teaching ability? Like, do you feel fulfilled after you teach inside the web, the virtual or the online class? Kasi before, outside, after you get outside the classroom, you feel fulfilled na, oh, the students are answering my question, tataas ng exam ng score sa quiz, so on so forth, they are happy, nagpalaro ka ng, like, nagkaroon ng quiz B, like say for example sa class mo, just you are so happy that they are so engaged. But right now inside the virtual, parang since you do not see the students, hindi mo alam kung yun nga, the reactions. So how do you rate your teaching ability? So do you sometimes question na, am I effective? Am I still effective inside the online class or in the virtual classroom? Is your teaching or work engagement still the same? I think this question tells us, or parang pag pinag-isipan natin, would be how motivated are you? Still the same motivation ba? O talagang, alam mo ma'am, bumaba po talaga yung motivation ko. And it's normal. It's normal. Even nga before the COVID, talagang may mga times na our motivation will be, lalo na when we are tired, when we are stressed, lalo na ngayon that there is COVID, di ba? That there is this pandemic and you have a lot of things that would restrain you or limitations. So how engaged are you still? What do you miss most about school? I think na-mention ni Sir Jason kanina. So, ano ba, nami-miss mo yung, yeah, and also Ma'am M, na-mention niya kanina, yung pagbaba mo sa faculty, tara kain tayo kasi nagutom ka magturo. Or you can go to the canteen, just kwento-kwento during the rest time or your break, ganyan. Those are the things we miss in school. And lastly, aside from these things to ponder on, the most important one is, what are you grateful for? So what are you grateful for even with this pandemic? Ano yung pinakalit, sabi nga ni Miss M kanina, enjoy the little things na lang. Okay, so what are you grateful for? Still, negative pa rin. Walang nagpa-positive sa family. Walang namamatay. I still have means to, parang, I have the internet connection, I have the ganito, I have the ganyan. So, all these are part of our everyday battle with our sanity and mental health in teaching. So ito yung mga pinag-iisipan and nakaka-affect sa emotional and mental well-being natin. So as a teacher, how are you affected by the sudden educational changes? So according to Frenzal et al. 2016, there are three emotions that is common to teachers, frequent and common relevant to teachers. That is, one, you enjoy teaching, that is your passion. Anger, siguro when you're tired, mabilis na irritable na tayo. And then the last one is anxiety. Even before the COVID, ito na ang usual na emotions ng isang teacher. Right now, I think paano kaya maganda siyang pag-aralan in research, no? How would our teachers emotions fare right now? Parang what are the main emotions that we feel? Is it anxiety? Do we still enjoy it? Or is it anger? Kasi laging walang signal, walang ganito, walang ganyan, and you will stretch all the stretch na gagawin mo for your students. You have to do it. And then you also look into the teacher's ability and self-efficacy. Yeah, the one that I explained earlier. I'm still efficient. Am I still efficient in online class the way I am efficient in the classroom setup? So you ask that. And the last one, which is very important to our mental health, is are we still satisfied in the teaching context or as a teacher? Parang ganun. We know about teachers na parang lipat na lang ng lalo na yung mga hindi 'di ba they get parang hindi regular, what do you call it, hindi permanent. They get out of teaching, look for other jobs to make ends meet. So these are the things that are affected during this time. And aside from, I mentioned kanina, aside from being a teacher, you as a person, how do you handle yourself with care? You do not just handle yourself, you handle it with care. Gusto nga natin yung mga check out natin sa Shopee at saka sa Lazada, it's handled with care, 'di ba? Pero dapat tayo rin, we handle also ourselves with care. Kasi kung paano natin pahalagahan yung mga yon, we also have to, because that is our kumbaga puhunan, okay, our puhunan. And like I've mentioned earlier, our students will have our mental health will have an effect on our students. So this is what we are going through this time of pandemic. In mental health, we have, before we can actually address it, we have to name it first. We cannot address a certain problem or issue or concern if we cannot name it. Parang sasakit lang. Ano yung nararamdaman mo? I feel ganito, I feel ganyan. Okay, may sipon ka. So, anong gamot sa sipon? Ganon. So, ganon din sa atin. Pag hindi natin alam, i-name yung mental health concerns natin, we will not be able to address it right away. Is it stress? Is it anxiety? Is it, yeah, so magkarugtong din naman sila, causes niya. So, yun yung isa nating titingnan. So, there is what we call, in a study, in the most recent study of World Health Organization, there is what we call now the pandemic grief. Okay, so ano yung pandemic grief? So if you try to read journals about pandemic grief, it says that we are all grieving. So what we are experiencing right now is grieving. We are in the grieving stage. But ma'am, hindi naman kami namatayan. Bakit kami mag-grieve? Or wala namang namatay sa family namin or family members. Yes, pero what we are grieving is the death of our pre-pandemic life, or what we call there at the last one, we grieve not only for the loss of relationship, treasured pet, yung loss of job, emotional significant possessions, but we also grieve our bygone lives. Yung biglaan kang ikukulong ng lockdown, and all the things that you planned and all the things na hindi na planado mo for the whole year. May planner ka pa for 2020 and nandun lahat ng plans mo. All of those biglang mawawala in just one snap because of the lockdown. That is what we are grieving. And until now, we are in the process of grieving and going through that grief stage. Okay, so Here is a good analogy of understanding grief, the ball and the box. There's a box now. Right now we are box with a lot of restrictions. Okay? Hindi ka makakalabas ng wala kang face shield and face mask. So there are a lot of restrictions. Right now we have here a curfew at 7 o'clock in the evening. So with with a lot of restrictions, you are in a box, and then there's this inside the box is the paint button and you and the ball inside the box. So before when the pandemic started, that ball is so big, so lagi siyang, it's painful for us to be restricted, kaya nga yung mga tao nahihirapan na sumunod, na hindi lumabas ganito ganyan, kasi we were that's our normal eh. So, hindi pa tayo nakaka-adapt masyado with the new normal. So, the pain is still, marami pa tayong reklamo, still natatouch siya ng ball kasi ang laki-laki pa ng ball ng changes. Okay. So, lagi tayo nagrereklamo, and when the ball hits the paint button, ang dami nating nagre-resist. Okay, because of the pain that we feel. But as it goes by, we adjust, we adapt, okay? And kahit nag-touch yung ball, okay, nag-hit siya ng differently from time to time doon sa ating paint button, lumiliit siya. Bakit siya lumiliit? Because we are adjusting. We are able to adjust to things, di ba? So, pag lumiliit siya, seldom niya na lang natatouch si paint button, which is the red one. That means there will always be time na mafe-feel mo pa rin yung, sana ganito, sana ganyan. May ganun ka pa ring feeling. Okay? Kasi natatouch pa rin si paint button. So, there is this longing pa rin to have that normal lives back. So, that's what we are experiencing right now. So in the grief cycle, we go through this one. I know we know about this. So we go through this one in the pandemic grief in different stages. Hindi siya necessarily 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So actually 5 lang siya, tapos may dinagdag ngayon in recent studies that returning to a meaningful life. So you do not go through it like in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You may go from 1 and then go back again and ganon. So as long as you are still in the process of adjusting, a process of coping, lalo na in times of uncertainty, pwede kang magpabalik-balik na shock na naman kasi from GCQ balik na naman kami sa MECQ. So adjust na naman ako ulit. So very uncertain ang times. That's why we go through that. We go through this again and again. So yeah, first one, we have the denial. We avoid, we are confused, we fear. Okay, nakakatakot. Actually, sabi ko nga when I discuss this, parang hindi naman nawawala yung denial sa amin, yung sa akin, yung takot, the fear is still there. Every time na may mababalitaan ka, like what Ma'am Bam shared a while ago sa Zoom namin, may mababalitaan ka na died friend, a friend's mother, father died because of COVID, the fear goes back. So, nandun lang siya lagi. Okay? Na-minimize lang siya kasi we have to move. We have to go on with our lives. Pero the shock will always be there. Every time na, nag-positive si ganito, naku, contact trace na naman. Sino ba mga kasama ko dyan? Or na close contact ba ako? So, the anxiety will always be there and the fear will always be there. It's just that we are going to live with it. We are going to live with it. So don't worry too much that you always have this. Kasi it's quite normal right now. New normal. Kung anxiety dati meron, medyo tataas siya ngayon. Kasi nga it's because of the pandemic. So instead of adding worry to that anxiety, ililesen natin siya. Later, we will discuss how we can cope with that fear and anxiety. And then we go with anger. MECQ, from GCQ here in Puerto Princesa. We are from GCQ na-transfer ulit kami sa MECQ, and you look at Facebook, open Facebook, andyan na naman yung mga reklamo, galit na naman yung mga tao. Bakit kasi ganito, ganyan? Bakit kasi ganyan, ganyan? And that's part of the healing process. Yung may mga tao kasi na talagang mapapanatag lang sila kapag nailabas nila yung galit nila. So it's actually a normal and necessary part of the healing. We go through it all para in the process, parang gano'n. May times ba na hindi kayo nagalit na kasi naman labas kayo ng labas, o kasi naman ganito kayo, hindi kayo sumusunod, or kasi naman ganito ganyan, yung ating ano ganito ganyan, hindi naman hindi sinara yung border, so on and so forth. So merong gano'n, part talaga siya because we want to express our anxiety. Sometimes it's because we are so anxious that we become so irritable and impatient and try to blame other people. So magbe-blame ng mga tao, be-blame ng kung sino-sino, and that's part of the grieving, the pandemic grieving that we are experiencing. We bargain also. How do we bargain? We always think of what if ganito. What if siguro kung walang pandemic, if only. Yan, people tend to absorb with a lot of if only. If only walang pandemic, my birthday would be in Boracay. Or if only walang pandemic, and right now parang ang trend in Facebook is you post your memories, the memories, di ba? Facebook will give you the memories 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and then you share it again kasi those were the days that wala tayong COVID, walang restrictions, and this is how we celebrate Christmas, New Year, birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, yan. So, if only and what if thinking is part of our bargaining, stage of bargaining. Yan. Ito, hindi rin tayo umaalis in bargaining kasi parang everyday you try to reminisce. Part siya ng pagko-cope mo eh. And it's okay. Part siya that you cope. Part of embracing what you really feel. Okay? Kasi sometimes they say na don't let emotions. No, you can let emotions, but you try to regulate it in moderation. Diba? Kasi it's good din naman that we feel things. Okay. And then we go to the detachment stage or the depression stage. This is not the depression clinically disordered or the one that is really needs professional help, but one that is actually you become helpless. Yung ano ba, for the sake of ano, yung wala ka na lang talagang magawa. You lack of energy, you just want to go away, time out, you become so overwhelmed, okay? So, or you become helpless. So, these are the things that you feel when you are in the detachment or depression stage. And don't worry because again, it's normal during this stage. So, your social isolation, the uncertainties, contributes to that. But this is also the stage wherein very important ang coping, ang emotional and social support. That's why this Sabadonar or this special tribute for teachers that you are doing is very, 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 very valuable. Kasi iba yung kapag nakakakwentuhan mo yung the same experience. You share the same experience with the teachers. So talagang, okay, hindi lang pala ako ang nakakaramdam ng ganito. So there's the emotional and the social support. Kaya maganda rin that you maintain siguro sa mga teachers, like yung principals with Ma'am Rachel, yung merong Zoom pero hindi kamustahan lang, hindi about work, not anything about work, but just Zoom kumustahan lang, ganon. So, para lang beyond work, para lang we get to let it out. Ma-express natin yung mga sarili natin, yung stress natin, yung online fatigue o yung fatigue natin with the virtual classes. And the last is acceptance, and the last fifth stage is we already have accepted that this will go through 1 year na siya, 'di ba? So baka 2 years, hindi natin alam, still uncertain with that. But we are in the plan of we have accepted already that we have to adjust, okay, to be creative, explore other options, formulate new plans. Ito na yon. So, okay, I have to adjust. I have accepted that this will be the setup for the next school year again. So pag nag-reset ka, go through this, think about your formulating plans, your what else I can do, most out of this virtual classes. So ito yun. Ito yung part na we try to cope and we try to adjust because we have accepted that this will be stretched pa into maybe until December or so. Sana naman wag na lumagpas ng 2022. Yan. So, but again, it doesn't mean that you have accepted it already. Okay ka na or all right ka na. Meron kasi tayong connotation na, ay, tanggap ko na ganito. So, hindi ka na pwedeng ma-feel anxious or maging sad. No. Even if you have accepted it, as I've mentioned a while ago, you can still go back to that shock, denial, bargaining, kasi mararamdaman at mararamdaman mo yon. You just learned how to live with it. So while you are learning how to live with it, you debrief yourself. Diba? So, yung pinagdadaanan natin na yon na 5 stages of grief, of pandemic grief, as a person and as a teacher, you try to debrief once in a while. When you say debrief, remove yourself from that experience or from that whatever you are feeling, anxiety, from that stress. So you debrief yourself. What